can deal a lot of damage. Little Crab there for damage. Boom, 128. Puff for that extra bit of damage. Welcome everyone to RuthlessRedge Gaming. For today's video, we'll be talking about this triple Aqua comp with a nice little twist. We've got Puffy, one of our starter Axies that we'll be utilizing to form this very aggressive team, and we'll talk about the team itself. We'll talk about the runes and charms that we use and some alternatives, and then we'll also be showcasing a bit of gameplay using these three Axies. Let's check it out. Let's talk about the team. Triple Aqua is about firepower. With Puffy in the backline, we'll be dishing a ton of that. Baby is innate, which means you start the game with it in hand. And using this, all of Puffy's attacks deal 22 bonus damage if Puffy's HP is above 66%. So this is quite a big buff. All of our other attacks and all of Puffy's other cards are attacks will deal 22 more damage. This is quite a lot of damage. Puff dealing 60, as well as draining for 50% of unblocked damage. Little Crab 80 plus 22, that is a lot of damage. Jelly Tackle is if initial restore 15 HP, so you gain back the HP because your main key condition is for Puffy to stay above 66%. Tiny Dino here for damage, that is great, and Puff here for just dealing an X amount of damage depending on the energy that you've got. So if you've got 3 energy, this will deal 66 plus 22 with a baby buff. 2 random Axies, if they've got taunt, it will deal all of that to that Axie. If, for example, you've got Nemo's, this will deal that much amount more of X damage depending on your energy. So that is quite a cool line of cards for our most firepower based Axie in this comp. Puffy is about the damage. So Puffy is being supported by 2 Aquas that both have Nemo's for energy gain, but aside from that, they also dish out a ton of damage. They also have toolbox potential. Let's have a look. So for our let's talk about the frontliner first. Actually, quite a simple Axie. We've got Nemo for energy, we've got Goldfish for damage. We've got Gill for damage as well, because Bubble, when you've got Bubble, you deal a percentage more damage based from your opponent's current HP. So for example, AoE deal, single attack and AoE deal bonus damage equal to 2% of the target's current HP per stack of Bubble. So this stacks to up to 3. If you've got 2, you deal 4% of their current HP in damage. If you've got 3, it pops to deal 20 damage to all 3 of your opponent's Axies. So that is quite cool. We've got Cute Bunny here that also is damage, applies fear, and we've got Sleepless to shuffle Daze. Personally, I think Daze is one of the better curses because they can't do anything about it. You can't banish this, you can't throw this away, you can discard it, however it stays in your deck, which means at some point it will always destroy. Whenever you draw 5 cards, one of them will be Daze if it is that card's cycle. So quite a useful eye for our frontliner. And we've got Antenna, which is just good shields, and Scry 4. Look at the top 4 and you can discard those cards just so that you can sculpt a better next turn for your Axies while putting up a bit of defense. That is our midline. That is our frontliner, and for our midliner now, we've got Nemo here as well, which is just for the tempo gain. However, if you've seen our previous video, we do like our Mavis, but not all in this time. This time we've got the 1 Mavis that should give us 4 energy, technically 4 energy turns for when Mavis lives to get that tempo advantage. Because the first trigger of Mavis, for example, you cast this Mavis, you've got a bird in the backline protected by your 3 front Axies. When it survives for the next turn, one of your attack cards is a 0 cost, which means you'll deal 4 total damage. The good thing about that is at that point the bird pays for itself because it costed 1, you gain that 1 back. However, the next turn you'll again have another 0, which means it actually generated you soft energy with having a Mavis in play. This also has a cool feature of having Nemo's to use on your bird Whenever, for example, you cast Mavis, next turn you've got the Mavis again. It is, however, damaged now with its own ability, lose 8 HP. But to buy more time, and if ever you're gonna use the Nemo on the bird, your bird gets another turn to generate even more energy. So quite cool. Aside from that, this Axie just has damage and toolbox. Arco is there to remove secrets from your opponent. For example, if they've got that pure water watering can shield, this can just remove that secret so that they've got no trigger. Pumpkin, secret draw card, this just removes it, and it removes 2 from the target you're attacking. Another cool thing is Scarab, target any enemy and deals 60 damage and applies doubt, which means the opponent can't heal. That Axie can't heal effectively. It heals for 50% less HP. The cool thing about this is it targets any enemy, which means if your opponent has their own Mavis, you can hit their own Mavis with a Scarab and then you're good. Even if they put it in the backline, this can target any enemy. We've also got Early Bird that has draw 1 card, quite cool. Just for example, you've got that 4 energy turn, you've got Nemo's. This actually maximizes and utilizes the most of that energy gain that you've got, just to draw cards, just to play more cards. And then Risky Fish is here just for the damage, and that is our triple Aqua Puffy team. Let's talk about runes and charms for our triple Aqua Puffy team. The idea is we want to focus on attack, and then we want to focus secondarily on HP. So let's have a look. For our front line, we've got Tough Strike. Non-multi-hit attack cards deal 10 bonus damage. So all of our single attack cards deal plus 10 damage, quite useful. And all of our attack cards just have Charms of Power, which is plus 2 attack. So we've got that, plus 2 attack, plus 2 attack, plus 2 attack. We've got Charm of Vitality where we can't put a Charm of Power. So for example, Nemo, you can't put an attack charm there, so you put Charm of Vitality in there. If there's an option between Charm of Faith or Charm of Vitality, I think we focus on the Charm of Vitality just so that we've got a higher HP in general. For here, we've got this very cool rare bug charm that we can slot in. So this is great because we can put that in there. However, we'll finish up our bug potential points, which means we can't put anything in antenna. But we're okay with that. This is a ton of damage for that frontliner Axie. For our midliner, same idea. Tough Strike to deal 10 bonus damage. We've got 4 single attack cards right there. Each one of them will benefit from the Tough Strike. And then if we look here, same idea as the bird. If you see here, we've got 0 now for Mavis because we use that for Early Bird to put a Charm of Power 2 there, which means it gets plus 4 attack. Quite cool. We've got Charm of Power for Arco. And then we've got this Aquatic Charm of Power for Risky Fish so that it gets plus 6. Quite cool. And then for here, we've got Charm of Power as well to increase the Scarab damage. And Nemo, as we said earlier, Charm of Vitality 4 there. Quite straightforward, quite powerful though, which is great. And then for our backliner, here it becomes quite different because we managed to get Hearty Warrior. If we did not get Hearty Warrior, we'd use Tough Strike as well, and we'd use the same charms, same idea, just attacks on this Axie. However, we did get Hearty Warrior, which means non-multi-hit attacks deal 5% more damage depending on your Axie's HP. As well as if it is multi-hit, you deal 3% damage of your maximum HP. This is great because we've got a multi-hit attack here with Puff. This will not benefit from Tough Strike if we equip Tough Strike, but it will benefit from Hearty Warrior, which is great. Aside from that, you'd usually slot in just attack charms there. However, because we do have Hearty Warrior, which scales really well with the HP of your Axie, we just put in Charm of Vitalities across the board. This means our Axie's HP will go up to 344. It will deal a bit less damage compared to if we put in attack charms there. However, the key thing for this is firstly, our Axie gets quite bigger, which means Baby's condition of being above 66% will be just a bit higher. And that is very great for Puffy because as soon as Baby's power is gone, we lose a lot of value. Actually, even with Hearty Warrior, as our HP goes down, we slowly lose that value. But with this, we deal a ton of damage early on. And that is what we are after. We are after that early game aggression just to put the opponent on the back foot. And that is our runes and charms for our Puffy team. Now let's talk about gameplay. Let's head on over to the arena. We're currently on Bear 2. With playing with Puffy so far, we're happy with it. It is quite an effective team. Let's see how well it works right now. So if we see here, our opponents got a double plant plus this very tanky reptile with wall gecko. Usually we struggle with these comps. We'll see how well we fare. Let's see how well we'll deal damage versus these Axies. They're going first. They're currently on turn 1, which means we'll get 2 energy on our turn 2. It's quite important to note that our Puffy order is very important. You should always start most of the games with Baby, so that our Puffy now has 22 bonus damage. So we'll go with that. We do not have any Puffy cards though, which means we're not gonna do anything with our Puffy so far. A cool thing about our team is we've got Antenna for 50 shields. We do also have Goldfish and Arco for the damage. Let's see, let's peek here. There is no shields whatsoever, so now is a good time to deal a bit of damage. Goldfish, I think, is our play here, just to deal 82 damage. This just to start a bit of aggression. They put in Sakura on the reptile, which means this reptile will gain a bit of HP every time they move. However, we do have Scarab on our midliner that provides doubt, and the opponent will not be able to heal effectively. So now we've got this tanky Puffy. They did put 2 secrets on the frontline Axie. So that is one of these secrets. So that's going to be 70 shield plus another secret from the Aqua, the watering can. So that's another set of shields right there. So there is this question whether or not we want to go ham right now, but we do know that this plant will have 140 shield, and we do not want to go through that. So one cool play to do is to just skip our turn. Another play is to just go through actually. Let's do the maths. This actually can deal a ton of damage. I think we can attempt to go through. Let's see here, that's 119. Puff and then Cute Bunny. We're not gonna Nemo at all because we're gonna save that for later turns because we know that he is not very aggressive. So that means that Nemo will be drawing later on. So let's see. Even with a shield, we did a ton of damage. We went through this plant right there. And that is the power of Puffy. You do want to take note of the if initial things like this. If initial restore 15 HP, you want to use that as maximally as possible. So we've got that, and we have Puff, which is retain. So at the point that you have Puff, you do not need to play Puff. You can just keep that in your hand and it does not need to be played. Now we see here that they do have 1 secret, but that's just 1. I think we can plow through that with 1 Jelly Tackle for Poom 103, and then we restored that bleed damage because we played it first. Next that we'll be playing is this Guild, so that we've got these bubble stacks to deal a percentage of damage based on their HP. Now we've got Early Bird. We can deal 70 plus damage, which might not be enough to clear that, so we'll go with Little Crab just to deal a ton. And then we've got Nemo here to do another Early Bird damage and draw 1 card. We want to draw cards as early as possible because we want to cycle through our Puffy cards. If we've used our Puffy cards, you want to just play your draw card so that you get Puffy again and again. And that's our game plan. If you see here, he's focusing on stacking up on the back line. So we're okay with dealing chip damage on the plant. I don't think Jeff is planning to heal up this plant. They're using this plant for shields just to protect that reptile backliner. So we're happy with that. Now we have Mavis. This is great because now our next turns will have a lot more percentage damage with bubbles. With giving days and the bubbles with Gil. what's gonna happen is we'll have a ton of damage. So if you do Gil first for the bubble. So now we'll have this bubble stack right there. We can hit with Gil to just give them a daze, and then we'd be happy with that. Okay, let's give them a daze. And then that daze is now in their deck forever. And then we place a Mavis in the back line. This is great because what the Mavis will do is provide us with 1 extra energy. Technically, soft energy. It reduces one of our cards' energy cost by 1. Which means one of our attack cards will become a 0 cost. Which is great. That is quite useful for gaining tempo against Jeff. Jeff is healing up. Trying to brick on that plant. Does that plant have secrets? It does have 1 secret, so it could be that Aqua stock again. We do have Arco to remove that secret, which is great. And our Nemo rotated already. This is perfect. So now we go for Arco, removing whatever secret they've got on. And then now we can deal a lot of damage. Little Crab there for damage. Boom! 128. Puff for that extra bit of damage. Ideally, actually, we wanted Puff. We wanted that first. That Puff first, so that we gain damage, maximizing Hearty Warrior. And now we can go Early Bird. We draw 1 card with Early Bird. We drew an Antenna. We can use that to shield up our frontliner. However, we can also go Puff if we wanted to. The question now is, do we want to attempt a Puff? I think we do not want to attempt a Puff just yet. I think we're happy with our Mavis going as well, because we can Nemo and give this birdie just a bit more HP, but I think we are okay. Because if we Puff, we're not sure if we're hitting this Axie. That is the catch. You randomly deal X hits to whichever Axie. So if this went to the backline, that will just heal back all of that damage. So we do not want that at all. 1 secret, so that's going to be 75 shield. We are okay with that. We've got Tiny Dino here. If initial, deal 15 more damage. We do want that. If they do have the bleed, we do not want our backline to bleed, actually. So I think we just forego that initial trigger and we go with Goldfish. Just to... Oh, no. That secret was a different secret. I think he secreted the backline. Quite interesting then. So now we then just slowly attack. If that backliner has a secret, we do not want to deal damage just yet. We can return 2 of these back to the top of the deck, which is great. With our return capacity right here. So what are we after? We are after Mavis, we are after Nemos, we are just after a lot of damage on this backline Axie of Jeff. Let's see, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. That is a lot of damage. We do not have a Scarab though, which is quite sad. If you see here, same idea though. That is a lot of secrets. So that is a problem. It is Bone Sail, Curved Spine. That is 140 shields right there. With Wall Gecko actually. So there is quite a cool play here. We can just return all of our damage cards right there. Skip our turn. We should have returned the Nemo, I think, as well. But that is fine. What we are after is Scarab though. We are after dealing a ton of damage. We're just letting Jeff waste their secrets. There is 1 more secret though. Another secret. What we are after is Scarab. That is what we need to prevent Jeff from healing. And we do get our Scarab, which is perfect. So now, do we want to trigger Tiny Dino? I think we do not. I think we just go for Scarab. Just to deal a bit of damage. Put Doubt onto Jeff's Axie. And that's the bleed right there. Because we don't want our backline to bleed. And now we just deal damage with our backline Axie. Tiny Dino. Boom! And then Little Crab for damage. Boom! And if you see there, look at that. That is a lot of damage. We still keep Puff. Jeff's Axie now has Doubt and has reduced healing at this point. They do play a Wall Gecko. to increase their damage reduction, so they take 30% less damage. And that is where the tankiness of this Axie comes in. Pure Water is not going to be effective, or as effective as Jeff wants it to be, because of Doubt, which is great. We do have Mavis, however, we are in Blood Moon at this point. We do get our Nemo, which is so good, and Arco as well, to just remove whatever secret they have going on. Let's see, let's go for that sweet Arco. Remove whatever we want to remove. Risky Fish would have dealt damage actually if we started with Risky Fish. We are not, but we are still gonna deal a lot of damage. Early Bird is still gonna draw a card for us. We draw Scarab, which is perfect. Heal up our backline. Apply Doubt again to this Axie. Prevent a bit of healing again. So down to 100 HP with Blood Moon damage. Just slowly chipping in on Jeff. Jeff is now chilling for quite a bit. Healing is not effective again. Trying to clear our midline Axie at this point. However, we are setting up for every time that Jeff uses an attack, that is one less shield being applied on that backliner. Blood Moon damage, we are okay with that. Let's draw our Puffy cards. Let's go. Tiny Dino now for maximum damage there. Boom! 81, and now we just end with our Puff. Boom and boom. And that is how we deal with a very tanky comp using our very aggressive firepower heavy machine gun Puffy triple Aqua comp. If you enjoyed our triple Aqua Puffy team, feel free to like this video as well as hit the subscribe button on our channel just to make sure that you are tuned into the latest and freshest of our content as they come in. In the meantime, I hope that this team provides you with inspiration to build your own Puffy comp. Puffy is a starter Axie, which means you start the game with Puffy. You just need 2 other Axies to build a team of 3 to start your Axie Infinity Origin journey. Your 2 other Axies don't have to be similar to our own, but for us, 2 Aquas that have a very offensive skill set complements Puffy really well, and that's what we went for. In the meantime, also a brief shout out to Jonathan for helping us flesh out our team and build it to the maximum that we've got. We are happy with this. Thank you, my friend. And now, all that we've got left to do is head on over to the arena and be ruthless. We're heading off in 3, 2, 1.